What radio? The music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
Brilliance. That's all I can say. Sheer, unadulterated brilliance.
RadioWhat.com.
What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you could have me. Yes, me, at your next event. You know, I'm booking a lot of weddings coming up. I know I do karaoke jams every Friday night over at the Rab, but yeah, I'm booking a lot of weddings. Today on the program, Steel Ivory. They're a country music duo. They're sisters, Kayleigh DeLozier and Kristin Denton. And you're going to get to hear a little bit about them in the next few minutes. As I already said, this week's shows, I have one public show this week. I'll be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas on Friday night. That's my usual Friday night gig. That's the video dance party, karaoke jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. Now, this one is over 21. This is my over 21 show. They got the full bar, kitchen. They got pool tables. There's 10 diamond-style pool tables. Yeah, they got a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to make some money while you're hanging out on a Friday night, I encourage you to check out the pool tournament at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. Then on the party patio, they got the foosball, shuffleboard, darts, giant Jenga game, giant checkers game. There's always something to do while you're waiting to sing with little old me. Well, not with me, but right next to me on the stage. And you know the dance floor is open. That starts at 8 p.m. and we go until about 2 in the a.m., way past my bedtime. That's the Rab, Friday night, Conway, Arkansas. All right, without further ado, let's get into it with Steel Ivory, Kayleigh DeLozier and Kristin Denton. Calling Steel Ivory now.
Hello.
Hi, Keys Dan calling for Steel Ivory.
Hi, this is Steel Ivory.
Hey, Kayleigh DeLozier, Kristin Denton of Steel Ivory.
Yes, it's us.
I got a twofer, a duo, a beautiful duet. So excited to have you on the What Makes You Famous podcast. You ready to jump right into it?
Yeah, sure.
Well, let's do it. Hey, happy to have you. Where am I calling to? Where is a Steel Ivory located right now?
We're in Nashville, Tennessee right now.
Well, that's the place you ought to be if you want to do some music. And,
yeah.
And I know it's not just country music. My goodness, you could sing the phone book and it would sound just fine. I know that sounds a little cliche, but I fully believe that. I follow you on Instagram and I am treated to beautiful duets all the time. It just,
thanks.
Yeah, it just flies down my Instagram. And yes, I did just subscribe to the YouTube, but I have been listening to the YouTube videos, from time to time. You are just entertainment expounds, just flowing through the Steel Ivory.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, who's the older sister? I guess we'll have to go by age on this one. Who's the older sister?
Me, I'm Kayleigh. I'm the older sister.
Kayleigh DeLozier.
Yeah, there's only about 2 years difference between us, though.
Hey, not a problem. Just for the people that don't know, Kayleigh DeLozier and Kristin. That's twice. Kristin Denton of Steel Ivory, your sisters.
Yes.
Kayleigh DeLozier, give me a little idea of who you are.
Who I am? Oh, goodness. Well, both of us, we grew up, my dad's a musician, so we kind of have been singing since we were real little. Me and Kristin are basically the same person. We're very, very alike.
We're similar but different.
Yeah.
Somewhat different, but we're very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I see you have your different styles. Okay, yes, you sing together. You harmonize like nobody's business. Just fantastic. It seems like every song that you put out on the interwebs has been practiced for months and months and months and months. And I don't know what your process is. And hopefully by the end of this podcast, we'll know almost everything there is to know about Steel Ivory up to now. And so, but you say you grew up together, of course. You're sisters. My goodness, you've known each other from a young age.
Yes. Kayleigh has literally been singing, though, since she was like 2 years old. She was always trying to be like the center of attention and always singing songs, like whether it was Barney or, just anything.
I would sing my ABCs to people in the grocery store, just anybody who would listen to me.
Well, the classics never die. The Barneys, the ABCs, the Schoolhouse Rock. Yes, those are the classics. And those are the things that you learn from an early age. At 2 years old, you're already ready to be the star, and performers got to perform.
Yeah, I really did. Our dad is a musician, like she said.
Okay. Well, tell me about Dad. Tell me about what kind of musician was he? Because I could read that on your bio that he's a musician. And if you go to your Facebook page, and I encourage everyone to follow you on Facebook right now, go ahead and pause the podcast. Or if you can do two things at once, go to Facebook. Follow Steel Ivory, go to their bio, read along with us, kind of follow along with their journey.
Yes, please follow us.
Yes, but hopefully we get a little more tidbits of who you are, because that's a very extensive bio. But what kind of musician was your dad?
Our dad is a piano player, but he was mainly he was in a lot of country bands when he was growing up. But piano was like his forte. Amazing piano
after a while he started playing dueling pianos, which is like a sing-along type thing, but like you basically have to be like a stand-up comedian and a piano player and musician all in one. And he has a catalog. He knows like every song ever written. He knows over 1,000 songs. It's ridiculous.
But I feel like it's in our blood because he also wanted to be a songwriter growing up, and he actually did have a few songs put on hold by some really some bigger artists
back in the day,
but
name drop
actually came through. And my mom really didn't want to move to Nashville because she's really close with her family there, and so.
Well, at this point, where did you grow up?
Still surrounded by music.
Yeah, where did you grow up? Tell the peoples.
We grew up in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. It's a small town, not very big.
It's a suburb of Columbus, though, so right in the middle, smack dab middle of Ohio.
Okay, and what kind of work
did a huge country scene?
Yeah, what kind of work did your mom do that she didn't want to leave? And I guess you had your whole family over there as well.
Well, she originally just didn't want to leave because of her family. Because when we were real little, she stayed at home. She was a stay-at-home mom with us. And then once we got a little older and we were both in school, she went back to school. She already had a degree in social work, and she went back to school and got her master's, and now she's a teacher.
Wow, I like teachers. You do something wrong to make you do it over again.
Yep. She teaches first grade, so sometimes
fantastic.
We get little snippets of her teacher voice and stuff when we're just. Every now and then she'll look at us and she'll say something like, "Okay, have a seat." I'm like, "Mom, but you're not in your classroom."
No, you get them while you're young. That's a great age. You're molding the young minds while they still can be molded. Because by the time they get to middle school and high school, they're carrying knives. They have their own ideas of the world of what's going on. So you grew up with a teacher. That's great, or you grew up with a mom that had inklings or desires of being a teacher, and then when you went to school, she actually became a teacher. Is she still teaching now?
Yes, she is.
What?
That's the beauty of being a teacher too, is she can move wherever. So when we finally got older and convinced her to move, then even though we were find a job
though we were older and both already living on our own, when we moved to Nashville, we have a really close family with our parents. So our parents moved here with us. Wow. And so did both of our boyfriends, who were boyfriends at the time and are now husbands.
Hey, mazel tov. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. That's why we got the different last names.
Well, the man always...
we still kept the same last initial because our maiden name is Demlo, so... We both have the same last initial still.
Well, that saves on your monogram towels that you got when you were earlier.
Exactly.
Of course. Of course.
Does anybody have monogram shirts or towels?
I do not.
I think they're coming back. I see them on cars all the time.
Monogram?
Yeah. I really
Wow.
think they are.
Well, I mean, because you got duets and there's Laverne and Shirley, and one of them has to be the Laverne and the other one has to be the Shirley. I suppose. If you even remember that. My goodness, you must be much younger than me. What year did you graduate high school?
I graduated in 2010.
And I graduated in 2012.
Okay. All right. Well,
So
much younger
this year
than
will
me.
be 10 years for me, and it seems very strange. It just feels weird.
Are you excited about going back to your reunion?
I probably won't go back to my reunion.
I was fortunate. I got to DJ my reunions, 2 of them, in fact.
That's cool.
Yes. So going back, it was kind of fun because, I graduated in '86, so I'm much older than you. And I graduated down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I was raised in South Florida, and here I am in Conway, Arkansas, just a little bit north of Little Rock. How did that happen? Well, I married a hillbilly. There you go.
My husband's from Arkansas.
Yeah,
well, he wasn't born there, but he spent most of his childhood there.
Fantastic. When did he leave Arkansas?
A couple years before he met me.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about the love story a little bit later in the podcast. But
Yeah.
let's go through the early age. I know we're bouncing around a little bit, getting to know each other, getting to know the ladies of Steel Ivory. It's Kayleigh DeLozier and Kristin Denton. See, I purposefully put a lot of emphasis on that because I didn't want to foul up your name once again. But I guess if I foul it up, people will remember it more.
Yes.
So Steel Ivory, before you were Steel Ivory, you were 2 years old singing at any opportunity, Kayleigh, and then came along Kristin. And Kristin, tell me about you.
Yeah, so I basically wanted to do anything that my sister did. When we grew up, like if Kayleigh was singing, then I wanted to sing. If Kayleigh took dance classes, we took like 10 to 12 years of dance classes. We took jazz and tap and ballet, hip hop. I mean, we took everything for the most part. So performing has always been a big part of our childhood and our teenage years.
I think it probably started as you being little sister just wanted to do what I did, but then once you did what I did, then you fell in love with it too. So then it was just both of us loved it.
And then like in high school middle school and high school is when we started singing in our choirs and doing like performing arts, like our theater had
in
a
high school
really awesome
we both
program.
did theater. We were in a really cool program for theater that we did for 2 years, the last 2 years of high school.
Mm-hmm. So that was really fun. And then our dad taught us both how to play piano at like 15, 16. We started taking guitar lessons. So that was how we both learned how to play guitar. We both took lessons at this place called Mid-Ohio Music Academy.
And then, fun fact, then later we ended up both actually teaching lessons there.
Yeah, but it's pretty much like growing up, we were just always around music. We actually were in a wedding band with our dad.
We were wedding singers.
Yeah, where we just sang covers at weddings and festivals, pretty much anywhere people would have us.
And we had an advantage because since my dad was in some bands already, he kind of, before we really had a ton of experience, he kind of talked to the other guys in the band. I was like, hey, you want to let my daughters come up and like sing a few songs with us and stuff? That's kind of how it started.
So
and
he
then
was a wedding singer.
Experience, we kind of took over more and more, and we're like the front people after a while. But it started as literally just like my dad being like, hey, can my daughters come up and sing a couple songs with the band, at a gig? And that's how it started. And then we just kind of learned more and more songs and started being able to do more and more and actually just performing with the band all the time.
But our very first gig that we ever played was at it was a city center mall,
which is not there anymore, but it used to be in Ohio.
And we
What
were
year?
only 6 and 8 years old.
What year?
So that would be, if I was 8, it'd be 2000.
Wow.
Yeah, back in 2000, and we sang Christmas carols.
We sang Christmas carols, and I'm pretty sure I read On Night Before Christmas for the mall.
Like I said, the classics.
They had a big place in the middle of the mall with a piano in the middle, and they had hired my dad to play like just Christmas songs in the background of the mall for a couple hours. And so he brought us in and had us sing some Christmas carols too. So that was our first ever public performance.
That is cool. And the gang, Kristin, Kayleigh, you not only sing together, you tell stories in harmony. You're finishing each other's sentences. You're like twins. You have twin speak and you're not even twins. It's fantastic.
Can't help it.
No, but I can tell you're not just sisters. You are best friends. Do you have friends outside of each other?
We do. But a lot recently, at least, as we've gotten older, we've kind of gotten to the point where we have the same friends and we go and hang out with friends together most of the time.
Yeah, they're like, we're so similar that it's just like we're one person. You can't have.
Well, you keep saying
we are very similar. So most of the time, if one of us makes a friend and the friend meets the other one, they like the other person too because we're very similar. So
well, you have similar personalities, but your fashion sense is quite different. I'm noticing in pictures, I see Kayleigh is a little more one color, but with the chunky jewelry, and then Kristin would be more flowery, and then the hair color with Kristin with the red hair, and then Kayleigh with Kristin with the blonde hair, and Kayleigh with the red hair.
That's fascinating to me. What would you say like our styles are different?
I honestly don't have a huge sense of style. Kristin's more fashionable than I am, so I'm just kind of like, I just wear whatever.
You say that, but at least, in your photo ops and on your Facebook, of course, on your Facebook, you're going to have the best of the best pictures. I know when I take pictures at the different events that I do, I'll take 18 of the same shot and pick the picture, especially if I'm taking
selfie.
If I'm taking pictures of someone else, I'm ugly no matter what.
Oh my God.
But if I take a picture, of somebody singing a song at one of my karaoke shows, I'll definitely take a few pictures and pick the one because I don't want to tag that person with a bad pic. Have you ever had that problem?
That's the thing about being a duo, though. I feel like if we get live pictures taken, like while we're performing, it's inevitable. One of us is always making a stupid face. There's hardly ever, we never get lucky, and it's like, oh, you both look normal in this one. No, one of us is always making a weird face.
I don't know if I ever look normal when I'm performing live.
True.
Honestly.
No, because you're going to make those faces when you're singing. You're going to have the O's and the I and the really crazy faces because you're really belting out that note, trying to get that note perfect. And your face is not going to be as subtle as you would like it to be, or as perfect as you would like it to be in photos. So, all right, you're much younger, and I appreciate that. Would you? I guess you're. What would you? Are you the millennials?
I think technically.
We're considered millennials.
I guess. I'm not even sure what that is. And you could say, okay.
I'm not either, to be honest.
Yeah. I just think people are people, and people grow up in different times. But, being in the 2010s and the 2012s, that music probably really affected you. But previous to that, growing up with your dad, now, from what I'm getting, your dad's a wedding singer in a wedding band or a cover band?
He was. He's not anymore. Now he still does the dueling pianos down here in Nashville. And he now is like, he works as our producer and produces all our music, and he like mixes and all that kind of stuff.
Still in it. I love it. I love it. I've been a DJ since '86, and I don't want to get a real job. I like it.
Yeah.
But
that's one of my biggest pet peeves when people think it's not a real job to do like music or things like that. It's like, just because it's not a boring job doesn't mean it's not a real job.
Well, the thing that I'd have to question would be healthcare. That is the hardest thing.
That's true.
Being an artist. Usually not usually, but you've heard starving put in front of artists, starving artist, because people want to hear the music. People want to see the group, see the duo, all the work that you put into it. But they don't want to pay the duo. They don't want to pay the artist, and you've done it from such a young age. Your first gig in 2000, and you say you were 8 and 6. Is that?
Yep.
8 and 6, and you played where?
It was in a mall.
In a
like the middle of a
mall.
mall.
And your dad was playing piano, doing Christmas songs. Perfect. I'm guessing the time of the year was probably Christmas time.
Yep, it was.
But how did you feel doing that in that mall?
Oh, I loved it. I know I did, because I'd been trying to sing in front of people for forever. So then when I finally got an opportunity, and like my dad put us in front of people and people were actually listening to us, I was like, this is great.
The bug hit you hard at a young age.
It did.
All right.
Our dad has always showed us that like it is possible to make a living making music. And we are fortunate that my mom was a teacher, because then that's how they got their health care.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
Right.
Because I'm actually diabetic, so like healthcare is
who's the diabetic?
Kayleigh, me.
Yeah, the voices are very similar. Not quite similar,
Yeah.
but yeah. Every once in a while, just let me know who's talking.
Okay. Yeah. Because we actually wanted to move to Nashville. I said I wanted to move to Nashville when I graduated in 2010. We didn't move here until 2017.
Whoa.
Because I had really bad health issues growing up. It was a genetic thing. I had hereditary pancreatitis.
Okay, how does that present?
It's basically, pancreatitis just means inflammation of your pancreas.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it just, like, the enzymes that digest your food mess up and they attack your pancreas, and it makes your stomach hurt really, really bad, and you can't eat or drink anything. And basically I would be in and out of hospitals a lot and like bedridden. And so I had several surgeries trying to fix it. And then finally in 2015, I had my pancreas completely removed.
Wow.
Which is, some people think you can't live without it. You can, it's just very difficult. So it's not very common.
Yeah, good glands don't grow on trees, I'll tell you.
Yeah, so I am.
So how is it living without a pancreas? What does your diet consist of?
I mean, I can eat pretty much anything normally. I try to watch the sugar as much as possible since I'm a diabetic.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to take pills, the enzymes that digest food. I have to take them every time I eat because my body doesn't produce them. Mm. But I mean, besides that, it's not too much different than anybody.
And she's pain-free and not having to be in and out of a hospital.
So it's actually, it's way better than I ever was before, because the reason we didn't move here is because I was so sick all the time, and I didn't know if I would ever be healthy enough to actually be here and really do this. So it's honestly just a miracle and a blessing every day that we get to be here and that I can do this and that I'm not in the hospital or just laying in bed and can't get out of bed. And I'm healthy enough now that I can do what I want to do. I do have to deal with diabetes, which, I mean, isn't the greatest thing in the world, but it's better than being really sick all the time.
No, Kayleigh, taking a pill with every meal is not a big price to pay to live pain-free.
No.
That is fantastic.
And then just the insulin and stuff. But I have an insulin pump that helps make things a lot easier, so I don't have to give myself shots all the time or anything. I just put the little pump thing in, and you change it like every couple days, so it's not too bad. So,
see, that's modern technology. My goodness, people growing up, with diabetes were poking themselves in the fingers all the time and having to give themselves shots all the time. And now,
I did when I very first started being diabetic. I had to start that way, just because they want you to get used to like the lifestyle and what to do before, and plus you have to get like a bunch of approval from insurance companies and learn how to use the technology and stuff. But it was probably only about 6 months that I had to actually give myself shots.
And this pump is small enough that you can hide it on your person and no one would ever know?
Yeah, it's small enough. It's called an Omnipod. It actually doesn't have any like long tubes and stuff. It just kind of sticks on. It has a tiny little tube that goes in. And it's pretty easy to hide. And I mean, sometimes if you see pictures of me, you might spot it. But it doesn't really bother me, honestly. I mean,
it's just a little white box.
It keeps me alive. So if you see it in a picture, then I mean, oh well.
Well, that could be a contest that you could give to the fans of Steel Ivory is spot the pump.
Spot it.
Yeah, spot the pump.
Spot the diabetes.
Oh, she did it. She did a Wilford Brimley. You imagine this guy's.
That's my joke all the time. Yeah. From those commercials, I'll be like, "My name is Kayleigh, and I have diabetes."
But this whole career, that man had a career that spanned 5 decades, and his epitaph is diabetes. Yep. That's it.
Yep.
I feel so bad for him. All right, that's Kayleigh in a nutshell. I mean, that's a little bit more about you than people probably knew before. Kristin, any interesting facts about you? I know I put you right on the spot. Here's a big spotlight. Bam! Right on Kristin Denton.
I don't know any what are interesting facts about me, Kayleigh? Other than
she's allergic to lice.
Lice?
She's allergic to, like, everything.
Not everything. Just,
a lot of things.
like, I'm allergic to all cats.
Most dogs.
Most dogs. I do have a dog, though, and he's, like, my baby. He is my pride and joy. His name is Chance. He actually has an Instagram. It's at Chance the Doggo, if you want to look him up.
Yes, I saw one of the last videos. He was biting your stand or something, and you had to pick him up.
Yeah.
Pick him up, and he became, I guess he took the spotlight, because you can't work with pets or children, because they're always going to steal the show, and he definitely stole the show.
He did. He always does.
So if you're allergic to pets, how do you live with the pets? Do you have to take shots or pills?
I tried to do allergy shots once, but I think I just tried to do it too fast, because I also have, like, outdoor allergies,
peanut allergies,
trees, peanuts, different foods. Yeah. And so I tried to do ones for outdoor allergies and pets at the same time. And I literally had a terrible, terrible reaction. I blacked out and, like, my throat closed up.
She almost died.
And I had to give myself my EpiPen. So shots are a no-go for me now. But I can have certain breeds of dogs. Like, I can have Bichon Frises. That's what I have.
That's a long-haired dog. You'd think it would be the short hairs or the no hairs.
It's really the dander that I'm actually allergic to. It's not so much the hair.
Plus, we grew up with 3 Bichons, so I feel like she kind of got immune to it because we had them growing up.
Yeah. So I can have those. I can have poodles, just things with really light dander. And they do, like, have really long curly hair, so you would think that I would be allergic to them, but I'm not.
That's what I would suspect.
And I'm so glad, because, like, when I was a little kid, I literally thought, I didn't think I was going to be a singer. I thought that I was going to be a veterinarian. Or when I was really little, when they would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would say that I wanted to be a dog.
Okay. I get
because I like them so much.
Hey, be a dog. If you want to be a dog when you grow up, be a dog. Yeah, I think you can be whatever you want. But I'm glad you ended up in this.
I think I'm over wanting to be a dog. But you know what? If I could be any dog, I would be my dog, because he is spoiled.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Well, I had the thought of Elton John in his Donald Duck suit singing his songs, and Bernie was totally against it. Bernie said, "What are you doing getting up on stage dressed like Donald Duck singing your songs?" But I think if you dress like a dog, hey, if you feel like it, do it.
I might get some publicity if I did that.
You know that's right. Yeah, and here I am talking about it, and it's probably 30 years ago that he did that, or more. I still think of the 80s as 30 years ago. It's not. It's longer.
Yeah.
It's a much longer.
Oh my gosh.
I still think of the 90s as 10 years ago. No, it's not.
I feel like I still do too. When somebody says the 90s, it doesn't sound like that was 30 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
What?
Yeah. when
crazy.
When everybody that was born in 2000 became an adult in 2018. That's it.
That's what I felt like. One of our little, I say little still, he's not little. One of our cousins is now 19, and I swear every time I look at him, I still see him as like this little baby, like this little chubby baby that he was when he was little, and he's like a full-grown man now, and I'm like, when did that happen?
You'll always be your mom and dad's baby, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's so weird though.
So mom's still teaching, and she, I guess she took the teaching and brought it over to Nashville, and it was pretty easy to get a job, hopefully.
Yeah, she had like 14 years of experience already, so
she got the job before we moved.
Yes.
And then right when she was down here, she just started up.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So you had that. She had that stability, and this is after you're already out of the house. I guess what she missed her baby girls and said, "I got to go."
Yeah, we were like, my dad wanted to move with us because he always wanted to move to Nashville and do his music thing there. So when we decided that we were going to go, she was like, "I guess I better hop on the train."
Well, I mean, okay.
we're just a really close family. Like you said that you could tell we're best friends. Well, our mom's also our best friend, and like our dad's really close with us. So like it was just kind of a no-brainer that like if for us it was like, oh, if they move down there, then our parents are going too. Like,
That's
it was
pretty
just kind
cool.
of a thing.
Yeah, all the moms and dads out there that are listening, if you have any teenagers that say, I hate you, Dad, I hate you, Mom, eventually they're going to grow up and, turn 21 to somewhere around that magic age and start to miss their mom and dad and start to love you again.
Oh yeah, we had our moments with our parents where
definitely
we
did.
butted heads and had some fights and stuff, but I mean,
I feel like Kayleigh had more moments just because she's the louder of the two of us.
Okay.
I knew when to keep my mouth shut, and Kayleigh was just like, nah, she would let loose.
I think
Yeah.
that's what I should be asking for you to dish the dirt or on each other, because talking about yourselves.
It's the honest truth.
Yeah,
I'll tell her she's right. Like when we were teenagers, if we were in trouble or something, if like our parents were lecturing us, Kristin she would just sit there and be quiet and just take it. And for some reason, I just had this streak in me. I just couldn't keep my mouth shut even when I knew I should. And I would talk back, so then I would be in more trouble because I just couldn't stop.
Or I would just be a brat, like really secretly or quietly. And
Yeah.
I was a sneak about it, and Kayleigh was loud and obvious.
I was not sneaky. So then I would get in trouble, and then I'd be like, well, Kristin did that too. She did it first. And I'm like, well, we didn't see that, so whatever.
Settle it amongst yourselves, kids. I know my brother and I had a younger brother, about 3.5 years younger. And, if we got a little rambunctious inside the house, Mom would send us outside and go fight in the lawn, go work this out.
Fun.
And we ended up, hey, we're best friends too. I mean, I don't think we're quite as close as you. I couldn't finish his sentences, but certainly, and I don't think, I think he'd be the better singer, even though I'm the karaoke jockey. He'd be the better singer because he did take chorus.
I think it also helps that, like, we've always been close, but now we also work together, so we just spend a lot of time together. So
Yes.
it
We
just
do
kind of...
that when we're writing, too, like when we're co-writing with people.
Oh,
We would just, like, finish lines for each other, and people are like, wait, what's happening?
Or come up with the same idea and, like, not realize it. Like, because we use this thing called Google Docs, so we can both have a computer and we can be typing, like, at the same time. And sometimes, like, before you even, like, vocalize it in a write, you'll, like, write down an idea. And there's been times where Kristin has written down an idea, and I have not seen it yet. I haven't read it yet. And then I write down almost the exact same thing, and then I look back, and I'm like, you just wrote that. And I didn't even see it, but I came up with the same thing.
That is a perfect writing team right there. And so, hey, tell me more about this Google Docs. I've heard of it, and you could be on two different computers and writing the same document.
Yeah, so it can be as many people as you want. You can add people to it with their Google email address, and people can sit in the same room with their own computers and type, and then everybody else who's on it can see what they're typing.
And
That
can
way
edit
it's
as well?
easier. Yeah, and you can edit it and all that kind of stuff. It makes it easier when you're writing because there's different ideas coming at the same time. So it's easier if you have it all kind of in front of you and you can see it.
No, that's a fantastic idea for collaboration.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do, like, Skype writes, too, some people do that a lot. We don't really. I mean, we've done a couple of them. Then you can write with literally anybody, anywhere around the world.
Oh, yeah. I talk to musicians around the world, and some of the musicians have never met each other. I talked to a fella, he plays guitar in Australia, and his bassist is in the Middle East somewhere, and his drummer is in Ireland somewhere, and I'm, what? And they've never met in person, but they Skype. He'll send ideas over there. They'll lay down the drums, one will lay down the bass, and they'll mix it all down in Australia.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because that's like when we do our music, my dad produces it and he'll play like keyboards and sometimes he'll put like drums and stuff on it. But if we have like we have other musicians on our music too, and they'll play guitar tracks. But usually they don't come into like our home studio, or we don't go to their studio to do it. We just send the track over and they record stuff and then they send it back. So we've met these guys, but we are usually not like in the same room when they're playing stuff for us. And vice versa.
You have a home studio, and that's where your dad does puts all the magic together, or that's where you make the magic, so to speak.
Our newest single, Yo-Yo, that we just released, all of that was produced in a little apartment studio. We sang those vocals in a closet.
Wow. It sounds like any professional studio, and I guess it is. And a lot of kids, anyone with a computer and a good enough microphone can make a demo. But
these days, it's so easy to release music, and music that sounds good.
The quality of it really kind of depends on what equipment you have. So it doesn't really matter if you're in a little apartment doing it. If you have good enough equipment and stuff that makes it sound really good, and some people who know what they're doing when they're producing it and all that, you can make it sound just like stuff on the radio.
It's the producer that really makes the music pop. Because you could be a good songwriter, a good musician, but you need to have that discerning ear that can put it all together. And your dad still has that. He's the one that's putting it all together.
Yeah.
Man, because by now I'm about half deaf. Since wearing headphones and being on the radio since like I said, since '86 on and off. I don't think I have that discerning ear. I've tried to mix music from time to time over the years, and I've gotten good enough to where I can give somebody a demo to where they can send it out to a record company. But here, that's something else that just popped into my head. You're cutting out the middleman. The record companies are running scared because people can put music out on their own independently.
Yeah,
and
we're really fortunate.
Yeah, and how. When was the first time that you actually laid down a track or started to write music, rather?
Well, Kayleigh and I used to write songs individually. It wasn't until a year before we moved to Nashville that we started co-writing together.
2012 2017 is when
we moved. So about moved. 2016 was when we started coming together and writing. We still wrote some songs separately, and our first EP, a lot of the songs that were on it were written separately. And I think that was the first time that we actually recorded anything that we had written ourselves.
And by that time, you had already been in Nashville, or you recorded that back in Ohio?
No, we hadn't been in Nashville. It definitely was not... It wasn't our best.
It's nothing that anybody can look up on your YouTube?
We were learning.
Those songs are not up anywhere yet.
That was my dog.
Anymore, because we felt like they didn't really represent us anymore.
Okay, all right, yeah. I mean, no, I think Quentin Tarantino, they say that Reservoir Dogs is his first movie. That's not his first movie. That's just the first one that he let you see.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I think, too, moving to Nashville, we discovered co-writing. We didn't really know that was a thing. And because we do think so alike, it is great to have another brain in the room that thinks differently and has different ideas. I mean, we think differently too, but usually if we have somebody else in the room, they can kind of give us their insight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And help guide us that way.
I know most of the videos that I see when I follow your Instagram or even on your YouTube are covers, but you do have some originals. When did that first original come out? And was that the Christmas one?
Our first
The Silent Night?
When we moved to Nashville was Never Been Kissed, which actually isn't up there anymore. It was on a compilation album called Nashville Dreamin'.
When was this? What year?
This was right when we moved here.
2017.
2017. And where did that get recorded? And did you write that one?
Yeah, Kayleigh and I wrote that one, just the two of us. And we entered a songwriting competition with a different song to be on the compilation album. But then the producer heard that song and he was like, oh, why don't we record that? And we had it produced by John...
I don't remember his name.
Oh, I know. I put you on the spot. You'll remember as soon as I
know
hit
his last
the
name,
end
but
record.
It's John Willis. That's
Willis. That's what I thought.
It's called Willis Sounds Productions. That's what I was trying to find.
I almost said that, but then I felt like I was wrong.
Very
John
good.
Willis.
I'm glad he got the shout out. Perfect.
Yes. Yeah, but unfortunately it's not up there anymore. We don't really have say in that. It was on contract.
I got you.
We don't own the master of that one, so the guy who started the project decided to take them down, but so that's the first one that's still up right now is our Silent Night cover.
Well, that's the thing.
Love That Mess.
That's the thing. People like Taylor Swift. People like Taylor Swift are re-recording their songs so they can own their own masters.
Yeah, we can re-record it if we want to. We just feel like it's not really our style anymore, so we're just kind of moving on with it. But Love My Mess was our very first single that we released independently, just the two of us. We wrote that song with two of our friends, Kristin Parisi and David Reuter. Shout out to them.
There you go. Represent. And
then our dad produced that one, and I'm really proud of that song still.
You know what? I realized that we've been saying Dad. Since he's part of the collaboration, you could shout him out too.
Jed Demlow.
Say it again.
His name's Jed Demlow.
Jed Demlow. How do we find out more about him?
He actually has an Instagram. It's JSD Tunes Productions. Or is it just Jed Demlow Productions?
Perfect.
It might be. I think it's Jed Demlow Productions.
Now he's doing the piano bar, and which is a whole lot of fun. If you, my dear listeners, if you haven't been to a dueling piano or a piano bar, it is a lot of fun. Especially if, as you say, your dad's got the gift of gab and he's got jokes and stories. That's part of it. It's like stand-up comedians telling stories while they're playing piano. It's great.
Yeah.
Right now, it was the Big Bang on Broadway in Nashville, but that location closed. So they're doing it now inside of the restaurant Dick's Last Resort, down off of Broadway. So he's still doing that every weekend.
I got to get to Nashville.
It is at Jed Demlow Productions. I looked it up.
Okay.
And he's also he's producing top lining tracks, which if you don't know what top lining is,
I don't.
Basically, a producer makes a track for songwriters to write over. So it'll have
it's a complete track, but there's no vocals or anything. And then songwriters can listen to that track and write a song over top of it.
He's making beats.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Hey, a lot of singers need beats. Sometimes you got solo artists that can sing like nobody's business. They've been to every karaoke bar, every open mic in the place, but they don't have anybody to lay a track. And if that's something that Master Jed can do, that's a great service.
It's something that's really growing in Nashville. Some people have a top lining guy or a track guy just sitting in the room with them while they're writing the song. Yeah. So like literally as the song is being written, somebody's building the track. It's really cool.
That is really cool. So before you got to Nashville, you were in Ohio in a small town. How was the music scene there when you were performing? I know you performed in a mall. Were there other performances? Because I know you said you in school. I mean, you had the full performance package. You were doing drama and band and chorus and making sure that you were well. You were well on your way to being well rounded in that respect. But what are the other performances that you did in Ohio?
We actually had a band in Ohio that we played a lot of festivals and gigs with.
What's the name of the band?
It was just Steel Ivory.
We just called it Steel Ivory.
Oh, it was Steel Ivory. Okay.
Who played with us?
How did that name come around?
Oh. When I first graduated, Kristin was still in school, and I started playing gigs out with just me and my dad because Kristin was busy with school and theater and stuff. And he would play keys, and I would play guitar. And he actually came up with the name. Steel is for guitar strings, and Ivory is for piano keys.
Oh, that is right on the nose, but so perfect. So perfect.
Then once Kristin graduated, it kind of evolved into being more just the two of us as a duo, but we liked that name so much that we were like, we're keeping it.
Yeah.
No, it is a great name.
Us now.
Yeah, one of you need to learn the keyboard. But
we both do play the keys, but Kayleigh was playing it more often, but now she doesn't really.
I need to get on it more and play more.
But we did when we were in Ohio. So we played some of the biggest shows that we'd ever played in our lives before we moved to Nashville. Actually.
Oh, in Ohio.
Yeah, because we got lucky. We had the opportunity to open up for Scotty McCreery at the Champaign County Fair.
Come on! What kind of songs did you play before Scotty McCreery?
Yeah, we got to open for him, so that was really cool.
What kind of songs were you able to play before? But I mean, because you're pleasing a group that came to see Scotty McCreery, and what songs did you play to appease that group?
We played a lot of cover songs, but we were also allowed to play some of our originals that were on our EP at the time. But yeah, we definitely played more he has more of a traditional sound, so we played some songs
like the band Perry and Carrie Underwood and
Miranda Lambert.
Yeah, like real like country women type songs.
Okay. And then what was the response? What did the crowd think?
We were shocked because we did a meet and greet afterwards at our little merch table that we were so proud of because it was the first time that we ever sold any type of merch.
Yeah, and there was about 4,000 to 5,000 people at this concert.
And the line at the merch table was huge, and people took pictures with us and bought our merch, and we just felt like we were on top of the world. But
we still have a lot of people who follow us on our social media and stuff and buy our music that found out about us from that concert.
You better believe it. They saw something. They heard something. They knew Steel Ivory's going to be big. And now they have stories for years to come. Oh, I remember when Steel Ivory was back at that show with Scotty McCreery. I remember that back in Ohio.
Yeah, we kept in touch with this one guy who was at the show, and he would always tell us about how he wanted to be a country music singer, and he actually moved down to Nashville. Like last year, I saw that he moved down.
Well, who's that?
His name's Thomas, but I don't know his last name.
Fantastic. Okay, well, tell me about that. Okay, you had aspirations of doing music, and you say most of your music has kind of got a country feel to it, but you could sing anything. All the covers that you do are not strictly country.
We love pop music.
Yeah, from every genre.
Yeah, or R&B. I mean, we love all genres.
There's a lot of pop influence in our music that we write.
There is, because when we were little, we were always saying that we were going to be pop stars, because, like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, they were like the queens at the time.
Yeah, they were goddesses. Back in the late 90s, that's when they started, and they were very young as well. I mean, in 16 or 17 and doing it and making it big. And
but our grandparents always told us, no, you're not pop, you're country.
And me, Kayleigh, when I was little, like really little, apparently this is a story that my grandparents always loved to tell. I was in the back of my grandparents' truck, and they were driving us around, and I was like 2, maybe 3. And they were trying to sing songs with me in the car. So they're singing like nursery rhymes and little things with me. And apparently in the middle of them singing these songs, I stopped them and I said, what are you guys doing? Don't you know any good music? And I started singing Tim McGraw's I Like It, I Love It.
I want some more of it. I get it.
Yeah. So they like always love to tell that story and be like, yeah, you're a country girl, even when you were little.
Believe it. So, but your grandparents were even singing to you. Did they do anything like that?
No, they're not really musical, but they loved country music. Like when we would go over to their houses, they would pick us up from school almost like every day. That's how close we were.
Okay.
But they would always have CMT on or GAC or all the country channels, and we would just watch the music videos.
Oh, you were destined to do it. Even the grandparents had it in for you, just destined to be singing, and country in particular. I mean, because you could have gone to California and you could have been pop singers. You could still do that, and even in Nashville, of course. That's not just a country music hub; it's a music hub. I make a lot of trips to Memphis, but I haven't quite gotten as far as Nashville. I think I've taken 55 out, or no, what is it? What's the road that goes through 40?
40, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've taken 40 on my way up from Florida, and I must have passed Nashville, but I never quite got to the city. I need to get there.
Yeah, it's a great place.
I even have a pal that just moved out there named Josh Williams, and he's doing very well in Nashville. But moving from Ohio, you had the aspirations. Who put the bug in you to move to Nashville to make your music dreams come true?
I'm not sure, honestly. I think
it was probably our dad, because he always told us that he wanted to move there, but I'm not really sure. I do remember when we were playing like some of those bigger festivals and stuff, we had a friend, Doug Dunn, that knew my dad. Yeah. And he was like, man, you got to get those girls down to Nashville, because that's where it's at. That's where people are doing things.
That's where you can make things happen.
Yeah, that's where you're going to blossom. Your creative juices are going to flow. And you wrote your first songs. You had your first EP in Ohio. How was the response on that? And I want to tell people, if you go to a show, especially an up and coming artist or somebody brand new, go meet them at the merch table. Because they're, and go buy a CD or a sticker or a T-shirt or a hat or whatever they got, and meet up with them, and give them some feedback, because that's important. That's going to keep them going. Yeah, you had that feedback from 5,000 people with a line around the corner waiting to meet up with the girls of Steel Ivory. But
yeah, it gave us even more of that push to be like, yeah, maybe we could really do this. Let's go for it,
Absolutely. Now, okay, but all right, you were both playing guitar, and you both play? Because I noticed that it's mostly Kristin plays the guitar.
Yes, I can play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honest, I'm just not as good as she is. She's better at it than I am.
Okay.
So she kind of takes over a lot of it, but I do play. I play things a little more simply than she does usually. She does the more complex things.
She plays when we play longer gigs too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Kayleigh, I think it lets you, if you don't play, it lets you concentrate more on the vocals, on the singing.
Yeah, she's the lead, so.
Yes. Okay. I have noticed that, because I know if there's a musician that's playing and singing at the same time, one or both of them is going to have a falter. It's going to hurt. Because Phil Collins playing drums and singing, you can hear it in his singing that he's singing on the beat to make sure that he gets that note out. And I love hearing him sing, but if you can concentrate on just the singing. But yeah, and then Taylor Swift, of course, I mentioned her already. She plays the guitar and she sings. And she's wonderful, But, okay, so you already said Brittany and Christina. Standard interview question in 3, 2, 1. Who are your influences? Let's start with Kayleigh on this one.
I loved Christina Aguilera growing up. I love Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood. I've always kind of really been drawn towards those women with the really big voices, because I feel like that's what I want to be. And with a lot of the sass, that's what I like the most.
Okay, I know. And as Christina Aguilera, she grew up. She really busted out of that child shell and did her dirty phase and made sure that. And I think a lot of the child singers or the singers that started at an early age, they want that breakout. Miley Cyrus did the same thing, and they all wanted to let people know, hey, I'm not a little kid anymore. Bam, I'm breaking out. So, Kristin, same question. Who was your influences?
I had a lot of the same influences. Like Carrie Underwood was one of my biggest ones, but when we were really little, I feel like it was Shania Twain and Faith Hill. We used to sit in our basement and sing and dance to those songs.
Dig it.
On repeat forever. We loved Shania Twain's sass, all of her sass. But from a songwriting standpoint, probably some of the guys like Kenny Chesney, and even when I was little, Alan Jackson was my jam.
Or now more modern, we really like Maddie and Tay, Dan and Shay.
They're fun. They're so much fun.
We're actually seeing Dan and Shay in concert on Friday, and we're super pumped.
Oh, that's cool.
So good.
They're so good.
I know they're karaoke favorites. That's for sure. Whenever I do the shows on Friday and Saturday nights, and Maddie and Tay with their country girl, that video is just so funny. No, girl in a country song, hilarious. So going through covers, what was besides the ABCs and the various Barney songs that you sang at a young age? What was the first cover that you did, and how'd you learn how to put that together?
Together? The first cover together, the first cover separately?
Oh, let's do that. First cover separately. This time, Kristin first.
I think mine was I Love Rock and Roll.
Dig.
And I actually remember the very first time that I performed that song.
But did you do Britney's version or Joan Jett's version?
I think I did Britney's version because I was obsessed with the movie Crossroads at the time.
Yes.
Yes.
I wanted to be Britney Spears.
Hey, Crossroads is very underrated. If you look it up online, when I was working at a radio station down in South Florida, Exito 105.5, I was kind of obsessed with Britney. Maybe I was a little bit too old to be obsessed with Britney, but I have a Keys Dan's House of Britney page still set up, still out there. So it's out there.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
No, somewhere it changed from hey, that's cool to whoa, you're pretty creepy.
There's something weird about that.
Yeah, there's something weird about that guy. But okay, so Kristin digging the Crossroads, and then Kayleigh.
Mine was actually Britney as well.
Oh,
But mine was, I did like a talent show thing in 2nd grade at my school, and I sang the song Sometimes by Britney Spears.
oh, sometimes I cry. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And what was the response on that?
The school liked it, I guess.
The talent show.
Yeah, we didn't have like a winner or anything. It was just like people performed.
No, and I guess at about that time, everyone would get a ribbon and go out for ice
Everyone
cream.
wins.
Yeah, that's how it was.
How do you
Set you up for disappointment when you're older.
how do you feel about that? Exactly. There, I guess you already got how you feel about everybody gets a ribbon.
Yeah. I mean,
That ain't how it always works.
I don't think that's teaching kids the greatest thing, because, I mean, as Kristin said, then you get older, and that's not how things are going to work. So.
Yeah, if you get a ribbon, you're going to find out what your strengths are and your weaknesses. You know,
Yeah.
So if you're going to be judged, and I know the Bible says don't judge, but you know, you're judged your whole life. You're going to be judged on your
If your
strengths
kid can't
and your
handle
weaknesses.
it, don't let them be in the competition.
No, you know, hey, look, I can't jump the farthest. I can't run the fastest. I shouldn't get that big trophy or that little trophy or that participation award. You know, but please take me out for ice cream because I like ice cream.
Probably that works.
So, okay, that was your first outing, and man, still young age. You're destined to be performers. You know, between dad and mom pushing you forward, and grandparents for that matter, sending you out into the world.
Yeah, everybody was behind it.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know, that had to have parents that are behind you. And I encourage every parent to let your kid do whatever they want, at least till they're 30. You know, by the time they're 30, they need to know exactly what they want and get their heads on straight. But in their 20s, my goodness, you could fall down flat on your face and bounce right back up. No big deal. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's life.
Yep.
That's what people say. That's Frank Sinatra. So, all right. So, when you finally made the idea, I mean, what was your experience to go to Nashville? And did you know people in Nashville? How did two young girls from Ohio get to Nashville and not fall down the wrong trail?
Well, we didn't really know many people down here when we moved, but we were part of that compilation album. So that's kind of how it first started when we first got here. We met people through that, and kind of people who had been here for longer, and just slowly started making relationships with people and kind of getting to know this town and how things work. And
You gotta go out. Like, you gotta go downtown. You gotta go to the writers' rounds, meet people.
yeah.
All right, where's the downtown? What's the first step when you get off the bus in Nashville, Tennessee? What's the
We
first step?
obviously had to check out Broadway just because everybody always talks about it. But honestly, that's not really been our scene since we moved here. But there's a lot of different places downtown. Like Demumbrian Street has a bunch of bars where people play every single night of the week. There's songwriters playing there or bands with different artists.
What was
So
the first thing you did? Did you have an apartment all set up and a place to stay?
Did.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did.
All right.
We had,
You got that
come down
settled.
like a month before and got the apartment situation set up.
And then jobs, how do you pay for said apartment?
Our boyfriend / husband.
Oh, well, that's good to have them backing you up. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
You had somebody.
We also we still do this pretty often, but not as often as we did when we first moved here. Before we got ourselves more established here, we traveled back to Ohio all the time to play gigs at places where people already knew us and we could get paid and that
There were
kind
other
of
places
stuff.
too, like that were surrounding. Like we go to West Virginia sometimes.
Very
Places
cool.
in Kentucky, yeah.
So
It's
who gave
it's
you your
real hard
first
to
break? Who gave you your first paying gig?
In Nashville?
No, in Ohio.
In Ohio. Oh, I
what
should
was
know
our first
this.
paying gig?
I think it was Cheeseburger in Paradise.
It's a restaurant called Cheeseburger in Paradise, Jimmy Buffett restaurant.
Excellent. Put that on the walking tour. Jimmy Buffett's a great guy. I'm from the Keys. I know Key
there.
West.
Yeah, that was our first one. That's right.
Very
My
cool.
dad had played there first, and we would come up with him and sing a couple of songs while he played there.
Then we had our
And
very first
so then,
gig alone.
so then after a while, we were like, "Okay, Dad, we love you, but we want to see if we can do this without you." So we had our first gig there, just the two of us, and we did all right. So then we kept going with it.
What year was that?
Oh goodness. I still in high school, right?
So it had to be 2008, 2007 or
Yeah.
so?
Probably, yeah. I think I was probably like 16 or 17. Kristin was like 14 or 15.
Super duper. You had it. You still have it. And it just gets better and better. That's fantastic. So, yes, that's right. What Makes You Famous, listeners. Put that on the walking tour. Cheeseburger in Paradise
Yeah.
in Ohio, somewhere in Ohio.
I think it was Polaris, Ohio.
Polaris.
A couple locations, though.
I don't know if it's even still open there anymore, to be honest.
It might not
It's been a
be.
long time since I've been up there.
Okay. All right. But after that, did it just start rolling? The cheeseburger people loved you, and you just kept getting gig after gig after gig. How
Our
often
dad
did you
was
play?
also a booking agent, so we were lucky with that. Our dad does everything.
Master
Was
Jed.
Man of many hats.
Yeah, he's kind of taught us that if you want something done, you got to do it yourself.
You better believe it. Hustle. And that's what, the entertainment
all the
business is a
different
hustle. Yeah.
So he had a lot of contacts up around Ohio of places that he had played or places that he had booked and people who trusted him. So if he called them and said, "My daughters have a band," and asked if we could play there, they kind of trusted in him enough to let us come the first time. And then once they saw us, if they decided they liked us, then they just kept booking us.
He gets you in the door, and you make sure that door stays open because you put the work in.
Now I'm more of the booking agent.
Yeah, we do a lot of it more.
Well,
ourselves,
you
Kristin
put the
mostly.
work in. How long did you practice together before you felt like, I think we can do this. We can go out there. And what was the first gig? Was it Kristin with a guitar and both of you singing?
I think we both had guitars.
Both had guitars.
back in there.
So
Yeah,
how
we
long
had
did
to
it take before you could?
A lot, and I still feel like we have to practice a lot for us to sound the way that we want to sound.
Oh, yeah, it's work.
It's an all day, every day grind that you gotta.
You have a good practice space that you can do. Hopefully
Yeah,
close to home.
we're sitting in it right now.
Excellent.
I have
The spare bedroom in Kristin's apartment is a music room.
Yeah, I got a piano in here so we can practice our pitches. I got my guitar. My husband also plays guitar. He's got his guitar and amp. We got our little recording setup that we do our YouTube videos and stuff.
So most of our YouTube videos now and like TikTok things we do are filmed in here. Some of the older YouTube videos were filmed in my kitchen because neither of us had a room that was specifically dedicated to it, so we used to just move my kitchen table out of my kitchen and do it in there. But
you're inviting people into your home and giving them a snapshot of who you are and where you live. All right, so did you both marry musicians?
No, well, Kristin's husband does play guitar, but as for his career, he's an electrician, and my husband is not musical at all.
Well, let's go through the love story. Who got married first?
Kristin did.
I did.
Kristin.
I met my husband on Tinder, when everybody frowns upon. But
No, don't do it. That's fantastic.
We call ourselves the Tinder success story.
Excellent.
Yep, we got married back in June 2017.
Now, Tinder, is that
2018.
what is it when you like somebody on Tinder? Is it swipe right?
Oh my goodness, it's probably different now, but back then, it was swiping right.
So
Now I know people
who swiped right on who?
I remember.
Well, I think on those apps, don't you both have to swipe right on each other before?
Yeah,
you get
that's
to
what it
talk
was.
to each
You
other?
both have to swipe, and then you're a match.
But who made the first contact?
It was, I don't know. It might have been me. I don't know, though. I really don't.
We
But
got to
I
get this
remember
story put together better for Thanksgivings to come and Christmases,
Right?
so you can tell your grandchildren.
All I remember was that we met on Tinder. And I made my sister go with me on, like, the first time that we met to make sure he wasn't, like, a serial killer or something.
As a third wheel, or did you have a date set up as well?
He had a friend with him, too. Me
Oh.
and his friend weren't on a date or anything, but we just kind of tagged along, and, like, it wasn't, like, an official date. It was just, like, them meeting, and, like, we went to, like, a little concert of his friends and stuff like that.
And then we had an official date after that. But
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was-
What was the first date?
we went to the Columbus Zoo, which is, like, one of the best zoos ever. You have to go there if you
Okay,
ever want an amazing zoo.
put that
It
on
was
the walking
the
tour.
Zoo lights. What?
Oh, put that on the walking tour. The
Yeah.
Columbus Zoo. And what was
It is. They have zoo lights in the wintertime, like around Christmas time. And so that's why we went there and we saw the zoo lights. And we also went to
what are
this
zoo
restaurant.
lights?
The zoo lights? They're like Christmas lights set up all over the zoo. Like,
They covered, like, every tree, everything in Christmas lights.
How
Yeah.
cool is
It's
that?
really pretty.
Yeah, but you're freezing in Ohio. Was it snowing?
Oh my goodness. It was like -10 or something. But we were so nervous we didn't care.
Not for me. I haven't spent a lot of time north of the Mason-Dixon.
That's fun.
So there. All right. So that's date number one, and love blossomed. So
Yep.
that's fantastic. And you married him. And
Yep. And he moved down with me. And
of course he moved down with you. You married him.
yep. And he's probably cursing my name right now because he worked all night and here I am gabbing. But
Oh well, hey, it looks like he backs you up in your endeavors, and I'm glad that you found somebody to love.
Thank you.
And then Kayleigh, your love story.
I met my husband, I think only a couple months after Kristin met Adam. His name's Todd. We met on OkCupid, so another online dating
Dig it.
success. Now, I do remember he messaged me first on OkCupid.
You know he did.
He did. And then he actually lived about an hour and a half away from where I lived at the time. And he lived about an hour and a half away for the first, like, year and a half of our relationship. So we would just kind of go back and forth on weekends. Our first date, he came to where I lived, and we went to Olive Garden, and then we went to the mall.
Oh.
And we saw the movie Into the Woods, which he hated.
Is that a chick flick?
It was like a musical.
Oh, I like musicals.
Did you see a musical?
Well, the thing was, we were going to see Dumb and Dumber 2, and they were sold out. So then we just kind of picked one.
Yeah, I think you did better with Into the Woods. Although I do like Dumb and Dumber 2 as well. So
Yeah.
I got no problem with that.
We lived about an hour and a half apart for the first, like, year and a half.
Oh,
And just kind of went back and forth on weekends and stuff. And then he actually moved. When I moved out of my parents' house, we moved into an apartment together in Reynoldsburg. But then we only lived there for about a year, and then he moved down to Nashville with us.
yeah, he did. I guess
And we
these boys.
got married only 6 months apart.
Oh,
Kristin got married in June of 2018, and I got married in December.
were you each other's maid of honors? Matron
Yes.
of honor? Yes.
Although Kristin was technically a matron of honor then.
Yes, but by that
Sounds
time she was
super
married.
old.
I called her my maid of honor anyways, though, because I said matron makes you sound like you're an old lady. So
No.
I'm just going to call you that anyways.
I'm getting up there.
Hey, I'm the older sister. Watch it.
I mean, it sounds like you're on the same track. You got married. You got your family life. Your home life is in order. You got your music career in order. It's all heading down the right path. It's fantastic.
So.
Oh,
Yeah, we're trying.
and you got these fellas that are backing you up, making sure that you have what you need. And you're doing it on your own. Whether you had them or not, you could still do it. But I'm glad that you have them, and that makes it that much better. Having love in your life is an important thing.
Yeah.
And so, children, because mom and dad, they want the grandbabies.
No children right now.
Where are my grandbabies?
I say that I will have kids. Kristin says she doesn't know if she will. I know that I'll have kids. I've always wanted to have kids. even as a little kid, I was always very motherly to our cousins and stuff.
Sweet.
But I'm not at a place where me and my husband aren't ready to have kids now. But eventually we will.
No, there's definitely time. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
Like I said, do everything you want to do till you're 30 and then start to figure things out. Well, do I?
That's
do
what,
I?
I mean, we're just kind of playing it by ear. Whenever we feel like we're ready, then we will. But
Yeah.
for now, we've got other things that we're focusing on in our lives. So we're like, that can come later.
Well, good. All right. Family life in order. Steal Ivory. And all right. So we're up to now. And where are you heading? Where is Steal Ivory going from this point? I know that you just released Yo-Yo. We mentioned that earlier, and that's available on the YouTubes and the Spotify and the iTunes. And
Apple.
Go out and buy that right now.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Yes, we released that, and then we're planning on releasing an EP in a couple months. We have a couple other singles that we want to release that we have ready, and we're going to do some fun things, like maybe a music video.
Well, yeah, Yo-Yo is catchy. Who made the lyric video? How does that come about?
That was me, and I'm so proud of it.
I'm so proud of you. How did you do that?
Like some do-it-yourself DIY, artist things, and
Yeah.
What's the program? The people got to know.
Yeah, what did you use?
oh, let me see what it is. I think it's called Video Leap.
Video Leap. And how do you get the lyrics on top of the pictures?
You can actually upload the picture in there, and then you can add text
That's
through each
cool.
slide if you have different pictures, or I just use the same picture for the entire thing, and then you can add music, different types of effects. It's really cool.
How much time did that take?
It only took me a couple hours. I did it
That's
one
cool.
night.
Hey, and now you have a lyric video out there that's showcasing your brand new
And it's
song.
free.
Yeah.
Super. Oh man. So all right. So where are you performing these days? What was the last performance you did, and where can we see you next?
So our last performance was at Live Oak. We played our release show for our single. It was actually a night called Singles Night Nashville, where they have a bunch of different artists come up and play their singles that they're playing or that they're releasing. And then after they get up and play them, then they play them over the loudspeakers in the bar, which is pretty cool. So everybody could hear it acoustic and then get to hear it fully produced. So that was at Live Oak in Nashville.
How many people?
I'm not really sure how many people fill up that
I don't
bar.
know, yeah.
It's a good amount, though. I mean, it's a pretty big place.
Yeah, it's a pretty big bar, and there was a good crowd in there.
What was the response?
But yeah, I don't know exactly how many people.
But then,
what was the response on that? Did people come up to you?
Yeah, I mean, we did have a really good response.
Yeah.
And we've met some other artists at that show that we're probably going to be co-writing with.
Yeah.
And the people in there had a really nice response, so that was cool.
Hey, artist
but our
helping
next
artists.
show
Yes.
is actually isn't it Jammin' and Jammies?
Yes.
We're playing a show. This is one of our favorite songwriters nights. It's called Jammin' and Jammies, and it's at the George Jones Bar on the rooftop. And it's hosted by this girl named Megan Barker. And basically what they have kind of more up-and-coming singer-songwriters like Kayleigh and I. And then they also have the pros join for a songwriter round.
Oh, cool.
And it's Jammin' and Jammies because everybody comes dressed in their pajamas.
Cool.
So yeah, it's a great opportunity for up-and-coming writers like us to meet the pro writers, and it's just a really fun night because everybody's in their pajamas and just hanging out and singing songs.
I'm so excited.
So we're doing
for
that
you.
on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Well,
That's
okay.
our next one.
That's excellent. Anything else coming up on the horizon that people can look out for you?
We have some shows coming up back in Ohio, if there's anybody listening from Ohio.
Yeah.
In April, we're playing at the Corner Bar and Grill
In Pickerington, Ohio.
I'm not sure the exact date on that. I'll have to look at that. Everything is up on our website, though. SteelIvory.com.
SteelIvory.com. Great website name. Great band name. You were able to brand that. That's perfect.
And then in May, on Mother's Day, actually, we'll be playing we've done a few of these, another Songwriters Night at the Bluebird Cafe.
Is your mom going to make it?
Oh, yeah, she'll be there.
Oh, Mom better be there.
You better believe it. All right, well, man, I've had a good time talking to you, Steel Ivory, Kayleigh and Kristin. Man, I'm so stoked to be here at this time in your career. I mean, you've done a lot of things. You've been a lot of places, but I see nothing but great things coming.
Thank you so much.
No, you're very entertaining. Every time I look at my Facebook, my Instagram feed, there you are, a beautiful duet just popping up and just playing for me, making sure that my day is getting better and better. Just listening to the sounds of Steel Ivory. All right.
Thank you. We're working on it. We're working hard, so hopefully you'll be seeing more of us.
All right. So typically, I usually end these things with giving you guys the last word. And since there's two of you, well, I'll go with Kayleigh DeLozier first. Give me your last words. It could be some words of advice or wisdom or ideas that just pops into your head, and then I'll let Kristin do the same right after. So Kayleigh DeLozier, last words for the people.
I think I would just say that no matter what obstacles you come across in life, that if you work really hard and you believe what you can do, just keep on trucking and you can make it. Do whatever you want to do. Life's too short to do anything that doesn't make you happy.
And music makes us happy.
Yeah.
Kristin Denton, last words for the people.
Words for the people. I would have to say the same as Kayleigh. Do what makes you happy. Follow your dreams. If you want to move to Nashville, come move to Nashville. Come see us. Say hi to us. Meet us. We love making new friends. You guys can check out all of our stuff on our socials. It's all at Steel Ivory Music. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, if you want to check us out. And please go listen to our new single, Yo Yo.
Yay!
Well, there you have it, party people. Steel Ivory, Kayleigh DeLozier, and Kristin Denton. Fantastic story so far. Just family-oriented and so talented. I encourage you to follow them on social media everywhere. Put those words together. Steel Ivory Music. Jam all that together and just put that in your Google search, and you'll find their Instagram, their YouTube, their Twitter feed, and their Facebook feed for that matter. So Steel Ivory Music. Jam it all together, and you'll find the likes of Steel Ivory. Nothing but great things. And check out their YouTube page. They got a lot of videos. And if you follow them on Instagram, you're going to hear, just like I do, on the daily almost, you'll hear them singing and just making your day so much brighter. So thank you so much, Steel Ivory, Kayleigh, and Kristin, for being on the What Makes You Famous program. I appreciate you so much. If you'd like to tell your story, you, I encourage you to give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here. If you like what you hear, follow What Makes You Famous social media. Use the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Follow on Facebook at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Instagram at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Twitter at Makes Famous. And follow on YouTube at Keys Dan. Leave What Makes You Famous podcast a review and subscribe. Listen to What Makes You Famous podcast on Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, and almost anywhere you find podcasts. Tell your story on my podcast, What Makes You Famous. Call 501-470-6386 and leave a message to set up a time. You can support What Makes You Famous using the PayPal link, paypal.me/KeysDan. Email info@radiowhat.com. What Makes You Famous podcast is a production of Keys Dan Enterprises Incorporated at keysdan.com. Thank you for listening. Radio What, the music you want, with another great quote. To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist. That is all. Oscar Wilde. The music you want is on radiowhat.com. Tweet, yo. Follow Radio What on Twitter. at Radio What Twit. Tweet, yo.